Oh, look at that. It gave me signal just like that. Check that out. Crazy, right? You never know how it's gonna go. Oh boy, it has been cold. Cold. 5 degrees is what it was. I let it warm up. You know what warm is? Warm is 25 right now. Man, that picture you seen, that snowplow, he's the one out there saving the world right now. I'm just chilling, having a biscuit. It's Operation Hot Biscuit. I'll give a minute for some people to come into the room, or if not, or if it doesn't show me, half the time it don't show me, and I could care less. I'm the red-headed stepchild of the internet, of YouTube. That's how that goes. That's how they treat me. It's just a phrase. Nothing against people with red hair. I have people that I'm related to that have red hair. So, we don't worry about stepping on feelings too much here. I just tell it how it is. There's some stuff to talk about. There's stuff going on. It seems that, man, first off, it's coffee time. You know what I'm saying? We got to coffee up, people. So if you have coffee, if you don't, look, they make a good cup and you can save money on refilling it. I highly recommend coffee. Everything before coffee is BC. Like 2000 BC right now. It's 2000 BC. 2000 before coffee. Man, 25 degrees. Golly, I can't believe I even walked way over there to get my coffee and my food. But the crazy thing is, as I'm having this coffee, I'm fixing to grab it out of the bag. They have a sandwich that's so big, you're just going to believe me what it is. Pork tenderloin. I don't know how you're gonna bring that up. There we go, pork tenderloin. That's my biscuit for the day. That's a big, man, this thing is so big. Oh my God, it's like, you're going to have to believe me, it's bigger than a bun. When they feed you up in here, look at this. That's how big the pork tenderloin was, and they just put a bun on it just to say we put it in a sandwich. That's not a sandwich. That's a meal with a piece of bread on it. Good Lord, look at that. That's how it goes. That's when you being treated right when they hand you this, you know. Turn the radio down a bit. So yeah, I don't know how I'm going to eat all this, but I'm going to eat all this because I bought it, and that's just how I do. Waste not, want not. So the freeze out is happening right now to everybody, including our little friends that are our little invaders from the south. There are the expeditionary force that they have decided to cast upon us. Not only is it a preemptive situation that was not asked for, but that's just the first wave of attack, and it's small. It's like I said, it's more of an expeditionary force than it is anything. It is just enough people from, and don't get me wrong, if I say South America, understand I know my geography, okay? The North American continent goes all the way to Panama Canal. These people are north of the Panama Canal, but here's the trick. Are you ready for the trick? Once they get all the idiots from North American continent south of Mexico in Central America to come up here, guess what? Guess who's next? The ones on the other side of the canal. Yeah, South America. This is a situation where they're trying to flood us with immigrants. It's the Democrats like it for votes. Soros likes it just for the trouble he can cause, and the media loves it because it's a circus. And anybody against Trump likes it because it just gives him something to deal with, but he's got it under control. And by the way, you don't want a pansy up there not taking care of our country when stuff like this happens. So it's a good thing we got a pit bull, you know, a Doberman up there that can take care of stuff. So he's taking care of stuff. Some people don't like that. Some people really don't like a leader that knows how to lead. A bunch of followers. They want a follower they can follow, and then when it hits the fan, Then they want to maybe just replace him. But in the meantime, they want that kind of, I'll tell you, there's people, man. Katie Hopkins has got more cojones than some of the people that I see in this country. Some of these people are so-called leaders. Look up Katie Hopkins. Listen to her. It's like no filter. If you ain't ready for it, you ain't ready for it. She tells it like it is, though. And that's what they're trying to do. That's exactly what they're trying to do. It didn't work because we were oceans apart from France and from Afghanistan and all that. It didn't work. But they turned France into France-istan. Look at the streets of France. They've got trash all over the place and mattresses and half set up tarps and they crap in the streets. Look at what these Central Americans are having to do because there's no latrine, there's no place for them to go to the bathroom, facilities. They've tried to put up some porta potties. They're trying to build infrastructure. This is the first wave. They're building infrastructure so they can continue this stupidity because it's stupid. They're going to come up on tear gas and then, tear gas. Yeah, guess what happens? You mess with the military. They're trained to kill. They're trained to kill people. They're not trained to hold your hand. They try to train them to be nice when they have to be nice, but they're trained to kill. Look, you ever heard of a K-bar? It's a knife, a kill bar. Well, guess what? Those concrete barriers that truck drivers call Jersey walls that go along construction zones that never end because they're sapping up the money, and we won't get into that, but the construction never gets fixed. It's just always a construction project and somebody's sapping up the money at the top. Let's just go there, though. They took those Jersey walls, is what you would call them. They're concrete barriers, but it's fine. They reinforced rebar, welded it, sticking up, and then they put concertina wire across, and it kills me they call it, it's not razor wire. Razor wire is a smaller situation where you got it on the top of a fence. Concertina wire is where in concert they put it together with other wire, wrap it, and you can't get through there. And now they're calling those rails K-rails. Why is it called a K-rail? Why do they call it a K-bar? It's a kill rail. You ain't getting through it. And that is the line. That's the gun line. Look, this is all a set-up situation. Those people were getting MasterCards. They were getting paid by the day. If you had kids, you'd get paid like $60 a day or something. If you were single, you'd get paid like $40. So people were, splitting up the kids, and one parent would take one would take, oh, I'm single, and I have to get to America, but my kids are still left behind with my wife in El Salvador. Yeah, because he's sending her money today. He ain't worried about it. They're paying him today. They don't have to make it to the United States. They're getting paid today. They're giving them money every checkpoint, and they let so many through, and the Mexican government's letting them through the bottom gate. They're the ones unlocking the gate down there. They're supposed to let so many through at a time. They had the trucks down there. They said, look, the United States government paid for these trucks so that we could use them against the narcos, right? Those trucks, that's their army. They were officials. They even gave a civilian a bullhorn to talk to the other people. There's a very, very small communication gap in Spanish, a little bit of a different dialect between Mexico and El Salvador and Honduras people. Just a few words, just like the difference between North United States and South United States. It's very, very nominal. You can communicate, but they let that guy have the bullhorn because he spoke better to those people. And they're uneducated. They're using the uneducated. They're using these people to come up to our border. They're being used. They're using women and children, and they're doing it through the TV. They're on the television set down there in El Salvador. They say, where'd you hear about this migrant thing? On the TV. They've run a campaign where they actually have flyers, They put it on paper, and they've got, it says, it has a picture of a dude with his arms outstretched that says something about, they're calling it the road, or the road to freedom, or the road to whatever, but they're making it look like he's Jesus, with no shirt on, right? Because they're very, very religious down there, and they're Catholic, and so they understand the symbolism of it. He's got his arms outstretched, and he's looking towards America, and he's got no shirt on, like a cross. His body's in the shape of a cross. There's a lot of stuff going on with that. It's all a big psyop against those people by their own government. And here's the thing. It's the first wave. They got total of, they're saying 10,000, but it's going to be millions. If those people get through, they're thinking that what's going to happen is that then all of the million people in their country, because Mexico has a pretty good deal. They got people over here sending money back home. El Salvador wants that. They all want that. They want people, because they have no work down there for them, they want those people to come to the United States and send their money back home. So it's not helping the United States because they don't spend their money up here. They spend rent for an apartment to have about 30 or 40 of them, and it only costs them like, you know, $5 a day at the most to live, 150 a month, and there you go. And you know, some of them are married down there. They come up here and then they act like they're single because there's no paperwork on them. They'll get married to a woman up here to get into the country, and then they'll go back and get their wives and kids, or they'll go move back down there. It's all a big racket, and they learn how to work it, and they know what magic words to say when they get on the border to claim asylum. But there is no asylum because they were supposed to hit the first country, so they're going to lose. All they're going to meet is tear gas and tears. But the governments down there are putting it on television, and it's going to continue. And this is nothing. This is nothing, people. Wait till there's millions coming up. It don't matter that some of them got sent back. They're not going to listen to them. They're going to listen to that television set that tells them this is the way to go to America, and they're going to let you in. They don't see us up here sending them away. They only see what the television teaches them, and by the time they get up here, they're out of money and they're out of answers, and then either they take asylum in Mexico and live there, or they'll get shipped back home to their own country. They want that, though. They want this trouble and this strife. They're trying to cause our government trouble, but we got somebody up there with a pair that actually takes care of stuff, and he's fighting back on this. So I speak Spanish. When I come at somebody that, you know, is my friends, you know, they'll introduce me to someone else that might be, you know, from Mexico. A dude says, hey, this is my friend, what, you know, Fernando or whatever. It doesn't matter. And I say, okay, you know, they'll say, you know, yo soy Fernando. Oh, yo soy, you know, and tell them, I say, pero yo no hablo pero un poquito de español. I'll tell them I speak a little Spanish, but they're like, no, your Spanish is really good by the time you're done speaking with them. But in order for me to get them to speak a little slower and for them to give me a little bit of leeway, I tell them that. Well, here's the thing. These people, they're on the Mexican Facebook. They're on all the Mexican television channels when they're being interviewed, and you can pick it apart and you can figure out what's going on. So even what I call limited Spanish, but I'm fluent in Spanish, even what I call limited Spanish, because there's some words that you're like, okay, what's that word, you know? So you get through it, you write it down, you're like, that's what they're saying. Well, I'll tell you, they're telling them with bullhorns when to move forward, They're giving them all rides, they're giving them new clothes. And these dudes that are freaking, they're criminals. They've been sent back because they killed somebody or whatever. They've been sent back to those countries, but they're trying to cross over again. They're wearing Hello Kitty backpacks and crazy stuff like that. They don't even know what it says on their backpack. Little baby backpacks. And that's all for show too. Those are grown-ass men in their 30s and 40s trying to get over here wearing a Hello Kitty backpack. Man, please. Trying to fit in. And the one dude that was standing on the wall, I'm pretty sure they took his phone, and I'm pretty sure they arrested him. I saw him in a whole nother video when they put him in the back of the van, and they were covering him up with their bodies, trying to get him in there. Yeah. So I was just down at the border though. Now I'm north, dealing with the snow. The Operation Freeze Out, they're gonna freeze them out. This is what is coming to their border. Mother Nature is gonna help us out. Gonna freeze them out. They're gonna get cold, and they're gonna realize real quick. They were complaining 2 weeks ago about being hot. Oh, it's so hot down in Honduras. Well, and they walking, well, where they get up here, they'll be complaining it's too cold. And wanting us to do something about it. Probably complain about the weather to Trump. Probably say, hey, you're supposed to turn the heat up. Aren't you the president? Whatever. So that's, you know, that's what's going on. We're being attacked at our southern border, and we've got a president that's got it under control. And he's not having it. And here's the thing now, listen to me when I say this. This is another reason I wanted to put this up. Listen to me, people. The people who are currently here in the United States that are illegal, okay? Escuchan a mí, okay? Todos peoples, los mexicanos, los El Salvadores, todos los peoples de Estados Unidos, lo usa de esta, no está legal, okay? Escuchan, primero el problema está en México, los migrantes, okay? Segundo, el problema está de los migrantes, vamos aquí, la army está en su puerta. They're going to be at your door. They're going to go door to door. You think they don't go door to door? I told them, I said, hey, the second problem, the first problem is the migrants over there. Next, they'll be coming to your door. They will find them if they cross that border, because he's got a zero tolerance policy, and anybody that helps them has got a $50,000 fine coming for every instance and every person they help. That's in law. They will seize your bank account, seize your money, and they will shut you down for helping migrants. You seen the sign, you seen where I crossed the border, coming back north, the checkpoint. You seen where I took my truck through that checkpoint, and it said, you see that sign, drivers? Don't get caught, and don't be taking nobody, don't get caught, don't do it. Because they caught drivers, and that's how many lost their license on that sign. Oh, I put a link to that video. I'll put a link on here of that video when this thing goes up. Yeah, if you get caught as smuggling people, okay, you get caught doing that, you will lose your CDL license, and you will be put in jail, and you'll go to prison, and there's a big fine. So when you get out of prison, you ain't even gonna have a job to go to. How about that one? Yeah, so don't do it. Even if they're over here and they're illegal, you can't at this point help them. But what's gonna happen is, when they have 100 of them come over, when they get about 10,000 down on that border, and about 100 of them wind up sneaking over somehow, okay? And we got, I'll talk about that in a minute, but when they do get over, they might as well just let them through, because then all hell's gonna rain down on every single house that has any illegal. They are going to be non-discriminatory, and they're gonna send them all back home. And they call Obama the Great Deporter, because he sent a bunch of illegals back to Mexico. Trump's a bit more tactful. He's just trying to send the ones that have, rap sheets and all that. But when it happens that those suckers try to get across, and they get across, that's it. It'll be door to door, like selling vacuum cleaners. I know that's a long time ago. Y'all don't know nothing about that. But it'll be door to door. It'll be like Iraq. They went door to door. They're trained to do that. And they will bring them in, and they will send them back. They'll put their asses on a C-130. It won't be comfortable. It'll be a bumpy ride. C-130 be rolling down the strip. But this is a really big, by God, look at this sandwich. I can't even tell you. Pork tenderloin. That's my hot biscuit. I hope you got your hot biscuit. Unless you're a illegal that's trying to cross right now, trying to cause trouble from El Salvador. And Mexico don't want them down there either. So don't get this twisted. Mexico's got a problem with them tearing up their streets. They're going in there, they're expecting free stuff, and it's just like when someone comes from another country to the United States, they get a government grant to open up a gas station, and then they don't get taxed, and then they got 7 years no tax, and then they hand that to the next one, and their child or their wife or their cousin or whatever, and then they'll hand it to the next one, and then hand it to the next one. Nobody ever pays tax on it, and they got a free business like this gas station right here, only this is American. But the point is, I don't get that, and you don't get that, but they get that. So we're not all that upset about that. But the people in Mexico are upset, because they're giving them 1 million visas, they're giving them a check, they're giving them free health care from the get-go, they're giving them all kinds of benefits, and the people in Mexico just had a tornado, and they're like, we ain't even got help for that yet. How are you giving these people this money? Where's this money coming from? You can't help your Mexican people, but you can help them. And so there's an uprising in Mexico, and the real people, the men of the world right now, the men of the world right now with a pair that stand up for their country are in Mexico, and they're Mexican, and they're standing up for their rights in their country, and they're saying, no migrants, get out. There's one dude in particular. He had a video he put up, and it went viral. Let me tell you what he said. He said, and they're tearing up Mexico. They done tore up the place. They done trashed it. they've used up everything they could get, and then they say, no, we don't want to live here, we want to live in America, we don't want your pennies here, we want dollars in America, and it made them mad. There's video of the guys from Mexico punching these dudes in the head for trying to cross the border wall and all this stuff, and let them know this is BS, y'all need to go back to El Salvador, because they're messing up traffic and they're shutting down the border, and it's making it hard for people in Mexico to come see their family and their people up in the United States and legally cross. So, and that's going to happen where they're going to shut it down, and Trump said, I don't care if you shut the whole border down. We don't even need Mexico at all, is what he's saying, as far as money-wise, so we could just shut the whole thing down for good. Mexico, you better open your eyes, okay? Your people don't like it. We don't like it. But I'm telling you what's going on down there. And now the cartel's pissed because they can't move their drugs across the border. And there you go. And so that's a whole nother faction that the Democrats and Soros, none of them thought about that. They're going to have problems with them. You don't want them after you, and they're after you now because you cause them trouble. So here's the thing. Basically, in a nutshell, we got people down there that even Mexico doesn't want there. The Mexicans are saying they're tearing up our place and they're getting free benefits and we need benefits. They just had a tornado in Mexico and they've got no assistance and nothing to help them with that town. And these people are acting like they're entitled as hell. And that's just a small representation of the millions in each one of those North American but Central American countries down there before you get to Panama, and then after Panama next, that would love to move to the United States, and if they get through, the other ones will get through. So they're causing trouble. Like I said, I'm listening to it on Mexican Facebook on the videos, but that one dude in particular, let me tell that story before I get off subject again. That dude, he was pretty funny. He's from Mexico, but he lives in the United States. He said he's seen some of those guys while he was down there, I guess. But he's seen some of those guys. He's like, they're all huddled up in a park. And they're all standing around and they're looking down. He thought they were beating somebody up, like hitting them with their fists and stuff, right? He's went over there to see what's going on. He's a pretty big guy. He ain't worried about them. He's wanting to see what they're doing. And he's like, you know, maybe it ain't right. Maybe they don't need to be beating this dude up. And so when they look down, he says they're picking up blades of grass and eating it. They're grabbing handfuls of grass and eating it. Like a dog would when it's, you know, sick or trying to make itself better. But these people are eating it. He's like, what are you doing? They're like, we're eating the grass. We're from El Salvador. We're part of the caravan. We're hungry. We don't have no food. And so we're eating grass. He's like, oh, man. Oh, so you're those guys that tore up Mexico. He's thinking in his head. He says, hey, listen, guys. He says, you know what? He says, come back to my house. I'll feed you. And he's like, they're like, oh, man, there's so many of us. You can't. There's like 15 of us, you know, right here. He's like, oh, I got you. I'll take care of all of you. He says, yeah. They're like, really? You must be the nicest guy in the world, you know? He's like, yeah. He says, man, he says, you can come to my house. My grass is this tall. You can fill yourselves up. He says, you can eat all day. It's messed up. But that's how they feel about him from Mexico. And then he says that he wasn't even hungry, but he went and bought a pizza. And he's sitting there in his convertible. He's eating a pizza. He ain't ate it yet. He bought the pizza. He's got the pizza. Right? So then what's next? So then he says, I'm waiting on the next band of these people. And when they come up, that's when I'm going to pull the pizza out and eat it right in front of them. He says they need to get out of Mexico. They need to quit causing trouble, and they shouldn't have come here in the first place. I'm like, oh my God, but they're robbing people down in Mexico. They had to close down gas stations down there because they're taking water bottles, right? And they're filling them with gasoline at the gas stations. And then they were using them as Molotov cocktails. Plastic bottles, okay? Lighting them on fire and throwing them at the Mexican police. They had to close down gas stations because them idiots were taught how, because somebody must have taught them that mess, how to do that and cause trouble. So fine. So they had to shut down the gas station. There's a line all the way down the street, and all the people in Mexico can't buy gas. It's messed up. That's in Mexico City. And then they waited till they got in North Mexico City. One guy had a Glock, okay, and tried to shoot a police officer. They said he tried to rack it a few times. But there's rumors going around that some of them have pistols and some of them have automatic rifles, like a machine gun. And so they're looking into that, and they probably have a pretty good idea that's going to be a trouble. But right now, all we're having to do is back them off with tear gas. There's going to be, like I said, there's going to be millions of them down there. And when they get across, that's when they'll start going to door up here to find them. They're not going to let them through. It's not going to happen. And if he wants to say something, you guys, I'm not getting, maybe I didn't even touch, I didn't get comments. I'll touch this so I can see them. But yeah, you're welcome to talk. I'm just telling you what I've seen and what I know from the internet, and you know what I've been able to corroborate. And you can see it on Facebook, on the Mexican Facebook. You can see it on Twitter. And if you go on Twitter, I recommend that you type in 10,000 migrants, because there's a rumor going around there's actually 10,000 of them now. Now I know there's like 4,000 that moved up to 5,000 in one ball field in Mexico, already in Mexico, ready to cause trouble. They don't want to wait. And there's guys down there with bullhorns egging them on, saying, hey, we're going to leave at this time, and we're going to do this at this time. And then when the reporters shut off, we've been here all day, we're going home. As soon as they shut off, then they tell them, oh wait, we got to go back live. They're trying to use and trick the reporters into showing babies and stuff, and then they try to attack when they shut off the cameras. That's what's up. So the only truth you're going to find is not going to be on the news. It's going to be on people with a camera in their hand, walking behind these people, seeing what they're doing. When the cameras go off, that's when everybody's cell phones come up, and that's when they get on the bullhorns and they say, go cross the border now, or go do this now, or attack the police now. And they're throwing rocks, and they've already killed one guy. I think, I'm not sure if he was a border patrol on our side or if he was a police officer for the Mexican side. I had his name written down. I'll get through that on another video, but they did kill one officer, and so that was with a rock. So if anybody says anything that a rock won't kill anybody, I got news for you. The first person to ever die, tell me who it was. Anybody? I'll wait for a minute. I'll give you a second to comment. Tell me who the first person who ever was murdered, how did he die? Anybody? And I'm only showing one in the room. I could have 20 or 50. They change it up and down. They jack my numbers, no worries. I'll tell you who that one person, the first person to ever die. I'll give you a clue. He was killed by his brother. His name was Abel. Cain killed Abel. How did he kill him? With a rock in his hand. So tell me, people, you tell me that a migrant down there throwing rocks. Guess who another person killed a man with a rock? Moses. He got mad because one of the Egyptian guards was whipping on one of the Hebrew slaves, and he was Hebrew too, and he knew it, and he killed him with a rock. He got mad out of anger. He didn't just get him off the guy, he killed him with a rock. Moses killed a man with a rock. David killed Goliath with what? First he hit him with a rock, and then he took his own sword and killed him. So what happens when a migrant hits you with a rock, and then you're an officer and you drop your weapon and he uses the weapon against you? Same thing. Killed with a rock. Don't tell me about a rock. They got big rocks. I'll show you a link. This guy shows the stone guards they're putting around the windshields and glasses of the border patrol trucks, trying to keep themselves safe, that they had to weld a bunch of wire, like almost like chicken wire, but it's a bigger gauge. It's what they use around concrete, right? Almost as thick as rebar, so that the rocks don't bust their windows, because they throw rocks. That's what they do. Big rocks, sharp, jagged edged rock. It's a projectile. Any projectile can kill you. The human body is fragile. So they are armed. That's all there is to it. And there's been many people that have been killed by rocks. You see the snowplow? That's the reason I'm chilling right now. Not because of him, he's doing a great job, but it's all that snow and ice that's on the road right now that they're salting it up. I'm waiting on them to do another pass. It's so slow out there. They got, the problem is that it's, right now it's 25 degrees. It warmed up to 25. It was 5 degrees last night. So I'm dealing with that. It's probably clear enough I can leave in just a bit here, and that's what I'm going to do. But I wanted to go live with this, and look, Hot Biscuit, you know what I'm saying? Operation Hot Biscuit. Get your biscuit, people. You got to feed yourself. You put fuel in your truck, you got to put fuel in yourself. But yeah, Operation Freeze Out. They're going to freeze them out. They're going to sit down there, it's going to get cold, and all them Hello Kitty backpacks and all them crazy kids' clothes and Disney crap they're wearing down there, grown adults wearing that mess, trying to make it look like they're younger or whatever, trying to say, oh, let the kids in. Yeah, those kids are throwing rocks, tearing down the border wall and dancing on top of it. One dude was dancing on top of the fence. That's the same guy that was in the other video, and the Mexican police are throwing him in the back of a paddy wagon and covering up so they really can't even video. That's the same guy. They got him. Pretty sure they got him and took his phone because they said he was videoing the military. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, they got him. And they don't think they can be tracked. They gave them all phones. Whatever. They're idiots. So they're dealing with, these people are not the brightest ones on the shelf, and the Mexican people know it and they don't like it. They're tired of it. They're standing up for their rights. They're standing up for their own country. Now, they just passed a law down there. They changed the Constitution in Mexico. These guys, it just got changed. So now the reporter that is in Mexico down there, he can't even use words to describe these migrants as anything except migrants, because then it would be against their human rights. They say that the UN gave them all these rights. So that's why we're having a contention with the UN trying to say, but Mexico signed over themselves to the UN and said that we're under UN law. So there you go, one world government. And that's true, not the United States. The United States is not in with that mess. We did not sign on to that, but there's some countries that did. And that now it's open borders for those countries. Anybody can cross. So they can cross into Mexico. Legally now. Illegally, but legally. They can just walk right across the border and the army's helping them and letting the gates open. They're letting so many at a time, but they let all of them in. That last group, they didn't want to let in but so many at a time, they let them all in. So there's no more borders for those countries that signed on to that pact, but we didn't sign on to that. And we're not having that. And like he said, if we have to, we'll shut down the whole border and just be done with it. It's not worth the trouble. So that could be a real problem for people that are hauling freight out of Laredo. You know, I go there and haul freight. Look, hey, that's fine. I'll go somewhere else. Like I'm up north. You choose where you go. They got too many rules in certain, like California. A lot of people don't go to California because there's too many laws and they get you. There's a guy on the other day ranting on YouTube about his problem with California shutting him down for no reason. Stupid, you know, messed up airline. We'll keep a spare airline, I won't tell y'all that, but for real, that's money more than quarterback. I'm not trying to be one. I'm just telling you though that it's ridiculous what they do down there. They'll find something even on a new truck just to try to lie on you and get you shut down and charge you money. So we don't go there. Truckers that know, we don't go there. And guess what? If they want to cause trouble at the border, we'll shut it down. You know, and if there's no freight at the border, we won't go there. So when all them other border cities, even in the United States, go slow and economically don't have a whole lot going on, hey, don't blame us truck drivers for not going there anymore. It's just like when the military pulled out of the Panama Canal. We had an agreement to give it back to them. They got an isthmus for Christmas. That was my joke back then, you know, because the isthmus is through there. Isthmus for, well, so Jimmy Carter signed it, said we give it to them. And we're fine with that. But now, the economy went down. Yeah. So they needed help from, you know, some of the other countries. They got, you know, Russia runs ships through there and pays them money now. You know, whatever. But the economy is nothing compared to when there's a military base there and that everybody's buying stuff. You know, same with the border in Mexico. When all the truck drivers ain't going there and when no commerce is going through there, those cities and towns will dry up. Hey, I'm not the one that caused it. I'm just telling you the effect of it. When there's a problem in a state, truckers don't go there. When there's a problem in an area or there's no freight, truckers don't go there because they don't want to be stuck. That's what's up. That's what happens. You know, North Dakota, you could get birdseed, but it don't pay much. So that's a kind of a, boy, anything west of there until you get to Utah, man, if you're talking about, man, why can't you remember that? But you can go broke in Billings, Montana. Billings, Montana. That's how I remember it. You can go broke in Billings, Montana. They have no freight, or it don't pay nothing. So there you go. If you got route to go to Montana, hey, fine, great. There ain't many, and that's why a lot of trucks don't go there. And the truck stops are struggling up there. They're running cherry machines and gambling machines to make money at this point because they're hardly selling diesel because it's too high up there. People buy diesel before they go there and buy extra tanks. Show us how to do it, FedEx. Yeah, so anyway, there's a lot of stuff going on, man. I just wanted to rant and have a biscuit. People, you got to support the government that you're currently under because there's a leader at the top. When you're in a war, you don't need a pansy. You need a general. Okay? When you're in a country that's being attacked by a first wave of later to come millions of people that are trying to take over and turn your country into Crapistan, okay? Guess what? You need a leader that's going to stop that. You don't need to try to elect one at the last minute. You need to know the one we got right now. Look, he's running it like a checkbook, and that's the way a country ought to be run. He's looking at what works and what doesn't work. He's talking about the deals and stuff. Well, I'll tell you, it's just like if you have a job and you look at your bills and you don't make enough to pay your bills. It's rough, but you might actually have to quit that job. Well, these trade agreements, if they're not working, shut them down. You'll get new ones, you know, and then when that happens, then you'll actually start making money. And then you go from there and you say, well, what's the next problem? Well, we got a problem with the border. He's dealing with it incrementally. What comes first? You know, if you blow your motor in your truck and you got a blown tire, what's more important, for them to start working on that engine or for them to knock the tire out? You know what I'm saying? You get that motor fixed, you know, and then you have the tire man come out, as you know, later or even at the same time. Doesn't matter. I'm trying to prove a point. You can do some things at the same time. Some things have to be done first. Like, don't put the cart before the horse. Doesn't mean don't buy a cart until you have a horse. All Amish people at a certain age get a cart, whether they have a horse or not. It means that the horse goes in front to pull it. You gotta learn what stuff means. A lot of people walk around, they don't even know what stuff means, you know. But we had a real bad trade deficit. We were selling to other countries less than we were buying from them, which means our country was not really producing much. Now all them jobs in Mexico is going to come roaring back because they can't make money if they can't haul their stuff across the border. And they didn't open up the border till 5 p.m. yesterday. 5 p.m. Keep that in mind. They don't have to open it back up. They could turn the people around and send them back. There will be a time, and they've already warned about it, where for about 3 months, mark my numbers, 3 months, they done gave you a heads up and an inkling to it, but they didn't exactly tell you. But they're going to tell you 3 months is going to be the next time they shut down that border. It's going to be for 3 months. It's not going to be for 5 minutes. It's not going to be for 8 hours or however many hours, like for 3 months. Not 5 hours or open at 5 p.m. and 8 hours shut down. 3 months. They said there's a no-fly. They say they're giving a travel advisory not to plan your vacations in Cancun and all that stuff and go to Mexico, or you could be stuck on the side of the border, on that side, one side or the other, for 3 months. They gave you the numbers, people. Don't act like you don't know. Don't get it twisted. Don't act like you're confused. Get it straight. The next time, now they might shut it incrementally, but when they get a lot of people and they bum rush our border, we're going to shut it down for 3 months. You watch. They done told you. It's not a lie. It's not, you know, perception. It's written into the government has a website for travel advisories. Go find it. You got a computer, go find the travel advisory for Mexico. They say that General Mattis said you might be stuck on one side or the other for 3 months. Then after these little incremental shutdowns, when they bum rush our border with a lot of people, they're going to shut that border down for 3 months. Mexico will move them back. They'll be tired of not making money. That's how it's going to work. Any questions? Just saying. You know. And that's, look, check it. That's boots on the ground. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I'm telling you how I'm seeing it. I'm telling you what I'm seeing. I done went there. Man, they're really going to call me like that? Ain't nobody got time for that. So, yeah, it's cold. I got 2 snow plows on my left. Another dude over there on the fuel aisle. And the snow's blowing. You just can't really see. Maybe you can see the snowflakes blowing. It's blowing sideways, but it's 25 degrees. Wait till this weather comes down there too. Yeah, get about 1 million people down there. Oh, it's so cold. We're in Mexico. How'd that happen? Yeah, it's gonna get cold. Ever since the towers fell, the jet stream changed over in New York. And also when there was a meteorite that came through, and not the one in Tunguska, but the one that actually hit, I'll turn this off for a second. The one that actually hit, oh, that thing's gonna beep if I don't. We'll see. If it keeps beeping, I'm gonna shut it off. Anyways, the one that actually came through and hit Russia, Chelyabinsk, and it blew up in the air and stuff. It sped up the air, the weather patterns around the Earth. Okay, and ever since then, the polar vortex came down. Basically, the jet stream and the polar vortex, the polar wind, dipped down a lot. And you're gonna see some snow in Mexico. You're gonna see some stuff like that. It's already happened, but I'm saying it's gonna be cold down there. So it's been cold in Florida. People that I know that's been in Florida, they're like, man, why'd we even move here? It's cold here, you know. There's been months. Hey, you never seen a jacket in Florida until they started having, and then they start selling jackets. That's how it happens. Well, when they find they're cold in Mexico, they'll change their mind. They're not going to want to stay there. They're going to want that first C-130 taking them back, or boat, or plane. But they're building infrastructure to bring them up here. They built boats. They built these raft things with pieces of wood on them, right, and 18-wheeler inner tubes on them, right? And they're all made the same. So somebody manufactured them, somebody paid them to be made, and they get the people from, since that bridge is out on the south border of Mexico, they can now cross over that river because they have rafts that move people, and they ferry them at night when nobody's watching. They're doing it at night, people. That's what I learned too. So they're watching them in the daytime, but then at night, then people go home and then they move them across at night. And then all of a sudden there's another 2,000 on the other side of the river, and then they have to let them in. So it's messing up trade, messing with a lot of stuff. There's unintended consequences, and if they think they're getting it to Trump, they're not, because he's got it handled. He already knows. They were stupid. They gave him time to put up the concertina wire. You know, he had way too much notice for them to cause him any trouble. So they were able to plan for it. And they're down there working on building the wall, but at the same time, there's some gaps. And that's what I was going to get into too, these militia people. Now, for years and years, the media and all kinds of people like that have been complaining and saying, oh, there shouldn't be a militia, even though really it's written into the Constitution. Look, if you want to be into that kind of stuff, be in that kind of stuff. You got the right, whatever. Thing is, they're wanting to say, oh, well, they shouldn't be there, whatever. Well, guess what? Now they're down there defending the border, and now people are saying, hey, look at that. You know, there's people who are ex-military that are down there. People who actually have a brass pair that are down there filling up the gaps in the border, okay? And they're reporting them. And that's what's going on. Real Americans are standing up, just like real Mexicans are standing up for Mexico. So it's sad that it has to happen like that. It's sad that they have to cause some stuff. But they didn't expect for that to look good on militia people doing that stuff either. There's a lot of unintended consequences to this whole deal. Now they're saying, patting them on the back, saying, attaboy, you know, watch our border so we can sleep at night, so we can have, you know, a life up here that's not Crapistan. You know what I'm saying? That's what they're trying to make. Look, Europe, the whole world is watching the United States of America right now. If you are an American, stand up and be proud that you got a president that won't let them people run over our country and come in here and make it so that all of Europe, the problems that they have, that we now have, or that we'll have over here. Look at Germany. The German people are going, you Americans don't let this happen to you. For God's sake, you're the last bastion of hope on this planet right now. See what has happened to us. See what has happened to France. Look at the consequences of letting people from another country that don't care about your country come in and rip it and tear it apart, and all those rapes that's going on over there and all that stuff. Look at this. And don't let it happen to your country. They're like, please God, even though we're living through hell, we can at least turn towards America and see a beacon of hope and a beacon of light that says not everybody's going to take this shit. So, I'm just telling you, be proud to be an American right now. And know that the rest of the world is watching us to see what we're going to do about this. And they're finding out. Tear gas. You know what I'm saying? That's what you get. That and concertina wire. Hey, look, the guys in. I got a joke for you. Here's you a joke. The guy that said about eating the grass and stuff. How about this one? All the men that are down there, or we call it, they're males, but they're not men. All the ones that are actually trying to crash borders and hurt Mexicans that are police officers, and they're kicking their shields and stuff and then running away and trying to cause trouble and then running away and throwing rocks and running away. To all those guys down there in that camp, trying to camp out in that ball field, you're welcome to come up to the border. In the morning, you can shave your face. We provided the razor wire. There you go. You're welcome to come and shave on the razor wire. I think the Gillette company needs to send them a whole bunch of shaving cream. They got plenty of razors. There you go. Yeah. That's what we got for you. The Americans don't appreciate you tearing up Mexico. We like our neighbors to the south. We have agreements with them and trade agreements, and we're friends and neighbors, and some of them families and stuff. Yeah. They need to go back where they came from with their shenanigans. But they're going to have it. It's going to be cold, and they've got plenty of razors they can shave on. There you go. And we're not sending snowplow trucks. They can shovel snow. So, no, they went over to our side of the border and got through a hole they tore in the fence and tried to attack our border guards. That's why they got the tear gas. They had to use it. And they had to disperse them, and then they went running back through that hole to Mexico. You should see them scrambling. One dude broke his wrist. He's saying in Spanish, my hand, you know what I'm saying? But it's his wrist. He broke his wrist because he was trying to run back through the hole in the wall. That's what he gets. He's probably about 20-something years old, trying to go over there and hurt our police officers, our border guards, our military. Because they're like, we're going to come through peacefully. But they said, if you don't let us through, they're threatening us. They're saying, if you don't let us through, you've seen what happened down there at the Mexican border. You've seen what happened down there, you know, in all these other countries. If you don't let us through, you've seen what happened, and you're going to get that. That's what they're telling us. We're not taking that. We're Americans. We ain't taking that shit. So, they're welcome to try. You know, we can't stop them. Especially if they got that new UN law that they're living under in Mexico that says that they have freedom of rights of right to travel even if they ain't got papers, okay, which is against everything I've ever seen. But so now they have open borders policy is what it's called. So fine, they want open borders. They're free to run around in Mexico all they want to now because it's a law. They can come in from Central America and they can run around in Mexico and tear the place up. But those people in Mexico are standing up to them too. And they're saying, we don't care what the government says. Now they're arresting people who are actually citizens of Mexico for standing up against them. But they don't care. They're like, no, that's their revolution. There's a Mexican revolution going on down there right now. Okay? And I think that, you know, I mean, you need to look up the story, people, of Pancho Villa and Salazar. These are not people who sit down when you trash their town. They don't. Look it up. While you're doing it, look. Hope you got strong. It's strong, and I tried to make it go down the wrong way. Hope you got some coffee, like I said, because you need to wake up, people. That's what I'm saying. That's why the coffee. Wake up. You know, there's a lot going on. You're a part of it whether you want to be or not. They say that if you choose not to make a choice, that in itself is a choice. Okay? So you can bury your head in the sand. Okay? Which ostriches don't really do that. They're looking for stuff under the sand, keeping their head cool, that kind of stuff. I think it even takes the fleas off their head. Whatever it is they do, they're not real. It's making fun of the situation. It makes it look like you're putting your head in the sand to not see what's going on around you. So, if you're like an ostrich and you put your head in the sand, that's okay, but it doesn't mean that there's nothing going on around you. Okay? No man is an island kind of thing. Yeah, so there's stuff going on, whether you want to pay attention to it or not. You can watch wrestling on television, you can watch football on television, you can watch all these things that there are a distraction from what actually goes on. You can watch those if you want for entertainment. That's great. But if you're watching them all day long and you're not seeing what else is going on, you won't know it until you're under UN law, until you have a situation like the people in Mexico. Their leadership has now done that. There you go. They changed the Constitution. Dude held it up and showed the date from this date to that date, and then now people have the right to open borders to walk freely across their country and tear up their fields and tear up everything and leave trash in their wake. It looks like elephants run through Mexico City. It's trash down there. That's what they got. And they didn't ask for it. It was forced on them. And the real people down there standing up. I salute Mexico. You got real men down there, telling it like it is. The dude with the grass in his yard, man, you got to get you a lawn service, man, for real. If your grass is this high, but it's funny what he said. Anyway, it's kind of messed up. But there's dark humor sometimes that comes out of dark situations. This is a dark situation. And only somebody who's been in a dark situation can understand the dark humor. It is like it is. If you ain't never struggled your whole life, you ain't gonna know what he's talking about, but I get it. I get what he's saying. And he's at a point where, seeing what's going on to his country and his people. I mean, sometimes if you don't laugh, you're gonna cry. They gotta stand up for that, though. They gotta go out and stand up and fight for a country that's already theirs. All because somebody with money wanted to trample people through it to try to cause us trouble in the United States. Right now, our best defense as American people right now, our first line of defense is the Mexican people who are standing up for their rights and trying to stop these people from even getting into their country so they can't even get into ours. That's what's up. So, other than that, I'm just a trucker. And somebody messed around and gave me a camera, man. They messed up there, didn't they? So, the world, you done gave everybody cameras. Well, a little bit of truth, goes a long way. So we're dealing with a lot. I'm nice and warm. I'm inside. There's people that have done let the television tell them what to do, and they've done messed around and came north, and they're outside. I don't feel for them. They were here to cause trouble. Oh, they're going to get to America. They're going to come their own way. Well, a little bit of a problem with that. You're supposed to have shots, measles, mumps, rubella, so that you don't bring something like Ebola to this country, something like the Spanish flu, something like the Black Plague. We have to watch that. That's a real threat. That's a threat to national security. Babies in Mexico are now in danger. Whooping cough. They have a resurgence of polio because those people didn't buy vaccines. It's prevention. It's kind of like when they didn't take care of the areas in Arizona where they didn't burn, California, my bad, California, where they didn't pre-burn fire lines so that fires wouldn't spread. They didn't want to spend money on that. Now they're spending way more on all the loss of life and loss of people's houses out there because they didn't. Preventive maintenance. Preventive maintenance, just like a truck. You gotta get an oil change for a truck, right? Well, they should have cut lines in a grid pattern so that the fire wouldn't travel millions of acres. It'd just go like 150 acres or 200 acres. They need a grid pattern. They need bulldozers out there. There's fire line plows that are designed for that exact job. And if you don't use them, guess what? All that stuff, all that dry stuff, the brush, turns to tinder. and it wipes out the whole place. They got guardrails that have fallen down and melted from the heat. And then it jumped across the road. Fire's that big. Fire jumps across the road, that's pretty rough. This dude's about to hit a snowplow. He shouldn't have parked there. Man, that's crazy. I'm just sitting there having a biscuit, man. And this guy's over here about to cause a wreck. Why would he park like that? Man, check this out, people. I'll give y'all a view here. Check this out. Why would you do that? There's the snowplow, right? Why do you want to drive like that? There's a big old parking lot. He's not backing in. He's going to block him in. Don't block in the snowplow, people. That man trying to do his job. You know what I'm saying? And there's a barrier in front of him over here you can't see, but whatever. Look, that's way too close, man. I'm just saying. Anyway, people gonna do what they do, man. It's like the people trying to cross the border. They gonna do what they do. Craziness, man. Well, anyway. Oh, what did I do? I gotta move this thing now? Yeah, oh, I did. Oh, no, I get it. I zoomed in. That's all right. Full room zoom. Bam, there you go. So, yeah, so like I said, waiting on a snowplow to do a little something. I need it straight and tight so that I can, you know, I don't want to average 20 miles an hour down the road. Can't make no money like that, so sometimes you gotta wait. He's about to hit that snowplow. He's moving it again. I can't even show you this. I can't even sit and watch. It's scary to watch. Dude. Man, y'all gotta do better than that. Anyway. There's 5 parking spots right here, dude. You could park right here. Oh, he's got his axles all the way to the back, too. Look, you can't maneuver if your axles are all the way to the back, and plus it's over a bridge law. You see that? Don't go like that. That's illegal all day long in every state. Okay? The 41-foot mark. Okay? That's as far back as you want to go. Whatever. California wants them jacked all the way up, so they can write you an overweight ticket. See, that's another thing about California, but don't run with your axles all the way back like that, people. Come on, wake up. You can't maneuver. You'll run over every hedge and every... That's why they put big rocks on the edge of properties. There's people running all over the curb. That's a curb killer right there doing that. Run them like this. This dude is right there. You see how he's in the middle? That's how you run them. Man, see, I could teach this all day long. I could do this with no effort. I'm just saying. So, man. So it's snowing and going. Anyways, we're gonna do a little bit of zooming here. Let's see if I can get a snow view. You picking up snowflakes against that blue? Look at the snow, man. Just saying. Let's see if I can pull this down. Now the angle's all wrong, but that's okay. The snow's cool. It's snow school. It's snow school. We're teaching y'all about snow. So, you see the snowflakes now. Them some big fat ones now, right? See, I couldn't see them before. It's snowing. Oh yeah. Those snow plows are not over there just because they think it's cool to take their equipment out and test it every once in a while. They're all salted up and loaded up. They're fixing to have to go back to work. I was talking to one of them about his boots. I told him about Bates. They're the best, most comfortable combat boot that the U.S. military ever issued. So, B-A-T-E-S, Bates, if you want to look up some boots. But yeah, that's the main thing that's going on. That's even more important than having a biscuit. is having security on the border. And walls work. So, you know who's got a wall? The Pope. Even the Pope. He's a peaceful man. You know, he's got a wall up around the Vatican. China built a great wall. Everybody that died building it is buried within it. They just threw them in there and put more mortar. It took less rocks to build it that way. That's how they built the Great Wall of China. It's not just a tombstone, it's a burial ground. How about that one? Did you know that? At least we're not putting dead people in the wall. There's your snowplow. Fun, right? There's number 2. They go rolling out. So, people are slipping and sliding out there. You see them moving pretty fast, but they're sliding. Oh, double pup. Woo, you got double duty today? I couldn't do it. Nope. That back one's just ready to, they'll flip. So yeah, so I'm going to have this biscuit. I'm going to get my day started. It was good getting all this stuff off my mind. It was good telling people what I feel about all this stuff. And it's not just a feeling, it's fact and it's true. Okay? This is a preemptive. We've had now the first wave of attack, which was just to test our defenses. That's all it was. It was a test. They run them up there with a bullhorn. Go now, and they're hollering with a bullhorn. Let me ask you a question. A dog, if you ever had a dog will come to you if you whistle or if you call it, right? It's blind obedience. If a person is asked to come here, it's usually in a polite way, and it's not blind obedience. It is, I trust him. He's gonna either help me in some way, or it's time for that person to leave, and so that's the person they're riding with, their compadre. So they call to the other person, it's time to leave, come on, you know. Now, what type of a person lets another person with a bullhorn tell them to go and run against a border with no weapon, no plan, no idea what's on the other side of the wall, and no map to go further when they get there? That is a form of blind obedience that shows the level of intelligence of the people that we are dealing with. The television media in their country told them to come to this country, but it was a lie. The dude with the bullhorn is telling them what to do, and now is the time they can attack the border, and it's a lie. And it's blind obedience. Don't be blind obedient to nobody. Be a man if you're a man, be a woman if you're a woman. But don't be blindly obedient to people that are telling you a lie about what your future's going to be like, how they're going to help you, how they're going to do this, that. Listen, people, don't be stupid. And really, that person with the bullhorn is an idiot. It's the blind leading the blind. They have no intel. They have no idea. Or if they do have an idea, that's a dirty person that would lead people, lambs, to the slaughter. That's what's going on. Yep. This is a good tenderloin, but it's just so big, man. Look, I've been working on this thing, been going around it. There's just no good way to finish this up. My new plan of attack is the backside right here. This is my new plan of attack, just so you know. There's a method to it. You gotta attack it the right side. So, you have a people down there that think they're smart enough that they can just, oh, well, if we keep doing this, this works and they'll let us through. They have no idea. They're outflanked and outmaneuvered, outgunned, and they overthought. they're now they think they're gonna negotiate. That's funny. No plan, just move forward and listen to the bullhorn. When the bullhorn tells you to run, you run. We're kids now, we're babies with them, in tow. Oh, and the news media loves that. They're trying to get all the pictures of all the babies ever that they can in front of a border guard that doesn't want to let them through, or a police officer, or this or that. Yeah. It's crazy. So keep in mind, people, I realize that today is the 27th of November. I realize it's of November. I realize it's not the end of the year yet. But you know what time it is. You should already have your 2019 IFTA sticker for the side of your truck. That's your permit to run. As some of these states are running out of money and they're looking to milk us truck drivers for it, I would highly suggest that you get that sticker and put it on your truck, so it's one less thing they can write you a ticket for. Let's be real. It's about revenue, not about safety. If they're writing you a ticket for a sticker that you know you're registered with, but you don't have it on your truck, but they're going to write you the ticket anyway, even if you could put it on your truck right then, guess what? It's not about safety, it's about revenue. They're not there for safety, they're for what? Revenue. It's your money, keep it in your wallet. I told you that. It's the truth. I think that guy's changing out of airline. I don't know what he's doing. The one on the right. Looks like he's got a red line in his hand. Might be some kind of homemade airline to pump up a tire. It is. It's so cold it's coiled up. That's why I don't ride with mine on the back. Keep it warm. It's on a reel. Look, he's fighting with it too. Yeah, get you a reel. Go to Harbor Freight and get you a airline that's on a reel already. They're awesome. But man, this is a big tenderloin. People are coming off the interstate. They're taking their lunch breaks. I didn't want to go 20 miles an hour this morning, so I ain't even started my day. I'm fixing to start my day. It's a good time to start it. They're going to lunch. I'm going to work. People, I'm going to get off this thing. I'm going to let you have it. If you're worth the paper you're written on, click like. Share my video. Let people know I support my compadres in Mexico that are standing up for their rights, even though their country's trying to take it away and they're fixing to have a communist dictator come in there. Oh, that's another thing too. How about this one? All of the dictators of the world are now waiting in one. Kim Jong-un, he's a dictator. He's waiting in Cuba right now to go to Mexico for the inauguration of the new Mexican president that they know is going to be a dictator. And he's they also it's like all the dictators of the world are waiting for this event. They're trying to, get other people doing the same thing they're thinking and that think like them. They want a socialist empire of sorts. I guess that's the new UN thing. I don't know what they're doing about the UN. I don't know. But I do know that we're not falling for it. And we have a good president, a good leader that's keeping us safe at night by keeping other people out until we figure out who they are. You got to at least represent yourself. Show some ID at the border. They don't even have ID. They came with no papers at all because they know every single one of them were already deported for one reason or another. So they're recycled. They're recycling the same people we've already sent back down there. So my question is this. Oh, some of them too, by the way. One guy said his wife had $6,000 or $8,000 in the bank account. She took a lot of the money out to take this trip because she'd never get to see America. She decided that was her time. Turns out that's the baby that they put in front of Trump on Time magazine and tried to say whatever. That was her kid. They had money. They have a business down there. He's like, no, the business is great or whatever. I don't know. She just took off and took the kid. Yep. So that was all a big lie. So keep in mind, even stuff that you'll see in Time magazine and other places, it's a lie. Yep. All the media is propaganda and twisted, but it's twisted to a point now where the only thing you trust is boots on the ground. You can try to watch it all day long and maybe get 1 minute of information out of 18 hours of watching television. Or you can see who's talking about what's up and who's picked through all the BS. And you know, I'm not gonna say I'm that guy because I don't have time to check all of it, but I do check a lot. I'll put some links on this video about who else to watch. There's a guy who's a reporter in Mexico. He talks about he's the one that held up the Constitution. I'll put a link to that on here. I'm gonna get off this thing though. We may not be able to trade with Mexico anyways when the new leader comes in. I want y'all to think about that. Think about it. I'm gonna say that again. We may not be able to trade with Mexico when the new leader comes in anyways. Okay? Especially if they've decided to, you know, trade with another country, and if it's true about them making tanks down there. I don't know. I haven't checked into that. I'd have to really check into that, but it is a pretty vicious rumor going around that there's tanks with red stars on them. They don't know if they're Russian or Chinese, and then there's some people saying that the Russians are saying if they just build the tanks, they get to keep 10% of them, and Russia gets no taxes on it, and something like that. That's, you know, it's just a rumor going around the internet. I haven't checked that. So, but if they are, that means they could start a preemptive attack off our southern border, and they're right there in line. I don't think that's an issue. I really don't. If they're trying to make something, I think they're just trying to make something. I don't believe that that's a perceived threat. The enemy's at the gates. They're all wearing Hello Kitty backpacks. With that, I'm gonna let y'all go. I'm gonna get off this thing and finish up my biscuit. Have a good one, and stay safe out there, and stay warm. It's cold outside. That's it. I'm out. Click that like button. If you're worth the paper you're written on, click the like button below. I appreciate it. Share my video. I'm out. Peace.